Welcome to the Temple of Flame. On today, faithful acolytes, we take a look at this. And what this is from Bonnie's Jams, it is the blueberry jalapeno pepper. A bright hot pepper taste, sweet tangy heat. Ooh. So there's the actual habanero peppers here. Yay. Hopefully the cider vinegar doesn't play too heavily in this. It looks obviously pretty deeply blueberry. I like this. You know what? I really wish everyone would do this with their label copy. Like, this is not a very good label in my view. It's kind of plain, but it is functional because we've got this. We've got pairings. So we can go to a cheese board. Soft goat cheese or aged Gouda. That might be interesting at some point to try. Or stir a spoonful into margarita. What the hell? So we have a drink, and then we have plop it on with some cheese. Okay, so I do like the concept. I'm not going to be having it with either of those two things for this video, I don't think. I do have a number of jellies and a number of cheeses that I've done on this series do incorporate cheese and jelly or jelly and cheese and crackers and so on as well. This will not be one of those though, because blueberry makes me sort of think in a different direction. And let's crack it open there. Very thick, as you can see. Look at this, I'm holding it near upside down. Definitely very dense. So this is going to be more of a jelly than a jam per se, I think. But I think most people use those interchangeably. So it definitely has this sort of really dark, deep purple, almost dark bluish, maybe even with slight tinges of maybe a really, really dark burgundy. I smell the cider vinegar, which I'm displeased about. But we'll give it the benefit of the doubt, I guess, and let's just take a whack at it and see what we have. I don't like that hit of vinegar, but you don't always get it, so. Interestingly enough, there's not salt in this. I kind of thought there would be. Maybe just a tiny bit. There's a little tingle of heat. Nothing too crazy. So I thought we'd try a couple things. Here's the first of those. It is some very anemic looking Eggo waffles. And I thought, we'll just try it. These are blueberry, by the way. So I thought, all right, let's try it on some waffles. So maybe we'll luck out and it'll be like with additional blueberries, it'll be like a really sludgy, thick syrup. It won't be. But, a girl can dream. All right, let's put that there. Not bad. So the apple cider vinegar is sort of resolving itself to just a tanginess now. I was promised hot pepper taste. I'd like to know when that will be arriving, because I'm not getting it so far. Well, let's just, holy balls, that's too much. There. All right. It is sort of resolving more towards what I would think is a jam now, though. It is moving away from the jelly side of things. So, let's get a helper. What do you think, huh? How about some of this pure, dark maple syrup? Unfortunately, that outlet didn't put the Benito's Reaper Maple back on sale, or I would have bought a bunch of it, but that's fine. So for a 5 ounce, this cost about the same actually as a 5 ounce bottle of that. Although I think I do prefer that other one a little bit more. Let's not go too hog here. All right. Lick the threads and hope we don't crust up. Thank you for your service. So we're going extra blueberry with maple syrup on Blueberry Eggo's waffles. That is I love that maple syrup. We need more trees to have more pure maple syrup. The other benefits are good as well. You know, air scrubbers and all that. But there's no comparison with fake maple syrup. This is a bit of a cheat. I mean, it's great with maple syrup. But, you know, really, is there a thing that pure maple syrup can't fix? I don't know what it would be. Very nice. Very nice. Let's put you there. You know what? Actually, let's bring you back for a second. Well, of course we can't try this without resorting to a little peanut butter and jelly action. My favorite crackers. These are Breton original. Sometimes they go on clearance at a store near me, and I will buy as many of those as I can when they're in clearance. These are just very few crackers have just a great flavor by themselves without throwing other stuff on them. This one does. All right, let's let's dream a little dream of me. Okay, I'll throw some. Here we go. Here we go. Whoop, 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 whoop. Here we go. Here. Whoop, 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 whoop. Try not to wear too much of this. All right, we'll call you good right there. Now, so A little dab of peanut butter here. Thank you for your service as well. Let's put all this over there. Okay, a peanut butter and jelly on Breton cracker. The fine dining experience. So flavor-wise, as I get more into this jar, this is resolving itself into something quite tasty. I'm not getting any more of the cider vinegar, happily. However, there is a however. However, there is no heat. And not particularly what I would say is any habanero flavor either. And habanero flavor, I can kind of live with that because I don't think those are a great flavored pepper by any stretch. However, you know, when you're suggesting hot pepper and some heat to things, there should be some of that, and there isn't. This is not a hot jelly at all. There's no real heat to speak of here, which is colossally disappointing. Oh, they're calling this a conserve. So I guess it's not jam or jelly, it's a conserve. Which I assume is like a preserve. I don't know. I don't know anything about that world. That's I'm not really a sweets guy. I just have 2024. I started to notice that there was just a lot of entries into the chili head space, potentially, with things like habaneros and ghost peppers and jellies. And I thought, you know, that could be interesting. You know, I had to dip my toes into that because I haven't seen a lot of people. I don't think I've seen anyone do it, actually. And it's just, I try to get as well-rounded into this chili head experience as possible. You know, part of it's exposure, and even though, you know, I'm certainly not one of the bigger creators at present, but, you know, the internet's forever. These are archival in nature, so you can go back years past and just go look at stuff. And maybe it's still around and you go, oh, whoa, that looks really cool. Does that still exist? I want to try it. Whenever it gets discovered. You know, sometimes I'll see videos that are, you know, 6, 7, 8 years old. It's one of the good things about this platform. So, but yeah, just to kind of present an encompassing, as broad as possible, sort of look at just where you see chile peppers just kind of edging into all the different culinary worlds is fascinating to me. To me, this one isn't very hot, and I really feel like I need to do probably maybe a good half a dozen, 10 jellies or so, jams, jellies, whatever, to try to get a sort of a feel for where those normally lie. Same with cheeses. You know, I do the same thing with cheeses to kind of get a feel for how that's going to go with the insertion of chili peppers into those things as well. And all this stuff's in the playlist, so you can search it at your leisure. But as far as this goes, if you like blueberry, I don't know what a conserve is. If you like blueberry jam or really thick sludgy syrup, I guess, this one is it's nicely balanced between a tang because of that apple cider vinegar, which doesn't read happily as that flavor. It did at the beginning, but it tapered off as I got in. It is a nice tang balanced with the sweet. It is not it's more sweet than not, but it's not hugely cloyingly sweet. I mean, I think as far as this type of product goes, it's fine. It didn't work especially well, although I'm going to keep trying on the waffles. I bought a whole box of waffles for this video, so I'm going to keep pursuing that, and hopefully that'll improve. But I mean, it's fine with the peanut butter and jelly. I think it's pretty solid now. It would work with cheese. It is sweet enough that I think you would have a nice contrast there, especially if you got something like a extra cheddar or an aged cheddar. I think you would have a really interesting balance there. And blueberry isn't necessarily a jelly I think of for that, but in this case, I think it would work pretty well. There is no heat here, though. If you come here looking for heat, you are going to be disappointed. But as far as the product goes, it's fine as a jelly, but certainly not a source of heat. And we'll just leave it right there. So that was the Bonnie's Jams Blueberry Habanero Conserve. Now go forth in peace to serve the flame.